fall on the sword of inflation and skyrocketing prices. For example, the allocation of 25,000 Guyana dollars because we care grant will not make much difference in the long-term lives of the people. It will provide for a temporary little stretch, Mr. Speaker, a temporary little stretch, but it cannot be compared to a program such as the 5Bs, boats, buses, bicycles, breakfast, and books. That is a program that can transform the lives of people. This money will go to the purchase of a few small items from the community shops. We urge the people of Guyana, Mr. Speaker, to take this money because it's theirs. But on the issue of transforming lives, these crumbs, these little frick, cannot affect the suffering of the people. This budget, Mr. Speaker, is one of the most anti-poor and anti-working class budget to have been tabled in this honorable house over the last 5 years. Mr. Speaker, a cursory glance at this hastily scrambled document would reveal undeniable intent to reward the haves and to punish the have-nots. The intellectual authors who concocted this wanton assault on the working class did not even attempt to hide their attack. The only way to transform lives is to increase the wages and salary of the people, not to offer handouts here and there and there. But this installed regime, Mr. Speaker, would be well advised to follow the path of the APNU AFC government that we had in 2015 to 2020. You would recall, Mr. Speaker, that on January 29, 2016, the former Minister of Finance, the Honorable Winston Jordan, presented Budget 2016 to this House. It was entitled Stimulating Growth, Restoring Growth, The Good Life Beckons. On November 28, 2016, this House received another budget for the fiscal year 2017, which carried the title, A Diversified Green Economy, Delivering the Good Life to All Guyanese. In November of 2017, we presented The Journey to the Good Life Continues for the fiscal year 2018. For the fiscal year 2019, we presented Transforming the Economy, Empowering People, Building Sustainable Communities for the Good Life. In doing so, the minimum wage was increased by 61.74% from $39,570 in 2015 to $55,000 in 2016, and public servants were guaranteed interest in every budget presented. We have demonstrated that we would always present a people-centered budget, and we stand ready to rescue the people from this beating that they are receiving. Mr. Speaker, co-op societies. The only way for the people of Guyana to benefit equitably from the oil wealth is to change the fundamentals of this economy. Mr. Speaker, and while the honorable member over there is shouting and heckling, I wish to remind him, Mr. Speaker, that I don't watch a nobody, man. I got my own house and land. Mr. Speaker, the only way for the people of Guyana to benefit equitably from the oil wealth is to change the fundamentals of this economy. And this cannot be done only through equality. It has to be done through equity. There's a big difference, Mr. Speaker, one which I doubt the members on that side of the House can appreciate and understand. There is no point passing a local content bill when the people lack the equity necessary to compete and access the opportunities that may arise. Sir, in this regard, some people who like to hold waiters and bring water and coconut water, co-op societies presented a structure for equity to realize in this country. To that end, sir, it is sad that Budget 2022 did not even see it fit to make any significant mention or program for the resuscitation of co-op societies. As you know, sir, co-ops can serve as the engine of growth for any village economy and provide the kind of transformative economic empowerment that cannot be easily matched. This is the avenue through which the small man can become a real person. This cannot be achieved through handouts. Handouts are not transformative, and anyone who doesn't understand this should not be in the seat of government. Mr. Speaker, it is for this reason that the APNU AFC government encouraged the expansion of co-op societies. Mr. Speaker, the David Granger administration launched 4 new models of co-ops with funding from the Caribbean Development Bank as part of a rural agricultural infrastructure development program. In 2019, thrift societies were reintroduced in the schools at both primary and secondary levels to rekindle the spirit of cooperativism. Added to this, we worked closely with the United Nations through UNDP to ensure that the practice of co-ops are aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and this led to the creation of 1,268 co-ops under our watch. This is what real transformation looks like. Not handout here and handout there, but real programs that can lead to significant social mobility. But it seems, Mr. Speaker, that we're asking for too much from this installed regime that is bent on ruling for a few. It seems, sir, that we are here crying in the desert, barking at a flying bird or chasing the wind. There can be no people-centered budget under this regime. The people of Guyana will not see any change in the high prices and sufferings until they return the APNU AFC coalition to government. Mr. Speaker, occupational health and safety, that is a sore issue. But Mr. Speaker, Budget 2022 offers nothing significant on occupational health and safety. This follows in the same footsteps of the previous budgets. Guyanese workers continue to suffer under uncaring companies that are only concerned about profits and possess little care for their workers. And Mr. Speaker, I don't blame them. Because if this is what our own gift to us, death of a teacher, no compassion, teachers' quarters in Upper Mars. And so, Mr. Speaker, if we see all of this that our own is giving to us, what do we expect to get from the foreigners? It's unacceptable. Mr. Speaker, I want to say to us in this House that at that time, nobody could have anticipated that years after the game-changing legislation, that the nation's most precious workers, our teachers, would receive zero protection from this government. The tears of teachers and their kids are on you, every one of you over there. The nation's tears are on you. And this government, and particularly the Ministry of Labor, they are upset and they have no clue how to deal with our workers. Could you imagine, Mr. Speaker, that this Ministry of Labor that we have here now, instead of working with the teachers' union and trying to mitigate issues, the minister stands there to send out a threat to our teachers. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Labor, this ministry was created to respect the people of Guyana, to respect the workers of Guyana, but the Minister of Labor, I'm convinced he has no spine to confront his colleagues on the other side. Mr. Speaker, a specific program
Honorable members, we need an extension for you to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I do move that the honourable member be given 5 minutes to conclude her presentation.
Let's move that the honorable member be given 5 minutes to continue so she could conclude. Go ahead, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, we are not surprised that the biggest budget in the history of this nation has not provided a specific program to ensure that our teachers receive adequate occupational health and safety and protection. There is no reasonable justification for forcing teachers to remain in the classroom when the highly Omicron variant is spreading and killing at will. Mr. Speaker, reports have shown over 500 of our teachers contracted COVID, and most of them at their workplaces. Over 685 students and pupils would have contracted COVID, and what did we receive? Absolutely nothing. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say, since August 2020, Guyana has never been the same. It seems as if there's a dark cloud that continues to hover permanently over the affairs of this nation. Death and despair has returned. Hope has been replaced by hopelessness. Prosperity has been transformed into economic carnage. Things were bright then. Now things are tight. Inflation is everywhere. Food prices continue to rise and will not stop. And this is not a global phenomenon, Mr. Speaker. It is a PPP's phenomenon. This installed regime has no answers, and they are not interested in finding answers. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2022, as we see it, will bring more trips for Dubai for the ruling elite and crumbs for the poor and working class people. And it is for this reason, Mr. Speaker, that the only solution for the people of this country lies with the APNU AFC. Mr. Speaker, I want to say to you in closing, finally, that we on this side of the House will not support Budget 2022 in that form because it doesn't cater for the poor and working class people. I thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable member.